If you want to prevent yourself from relapse, if you want to prevent yourself from falling back into that same old addiction, if you want to prevent yourself from going back to the sin that you've been struggling with for so long, I need you to listen up. Did you know that there's something you can do with your diet once a week that actually has the ability to help you and prevent you from going to an addiction, prevent you from relapsing, prevent you from sin? And literally, you can do it once a week. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how biblical fasting has kept me from falling back into patterns of sin, addiction, and has kept me from relapse. Now, before we get started, you guys know what to do. I need you to hit the like button, subscribe, and share it to as many people as you can, because I want to get this to reach anyone who's dealing with an addiction or somebody who's really trying to prevent themselves from going back into an addiction. So the first thing I want to tell you is I want to tell you why biblical fasting works the way that it works. Now, you need to understand that biblical fasting is not the same as just abstaining from food. Like when you go to the doctor and they say, hey, don't eat for the next 16 hours before you have this surgery. That's not what biblical fasting is. And it might seem like it because on the outside, you'd say you just don't put food in your mouth and you fast from food and then you're good. But that's not exactly what's happening. So the reason why we're gonna go on a biblical fast, we need to understand how something in our brain is working. When you have a craving for food, a desire for food, I want to go have some ice cream, I want to have a cheeseburger, some French fries, some pizza, some fruit, whatever it is, the thing that motivates you to go eat is dopamine. That same exact thing is the thing that motivates you to go toward whatever addiction you have. So if you have an addiction for porn, if you have an addiction for a specific drug, for alcohol, I don't care what it is, dopamine is responsible and it motivates you to actually pursue after the thing that you want to go do. Sometimes people think that dopamine is just released once you do the thing, but it's not. It's released to actually motivate you to go do the thing. And so, when you do a biblical fast, meaning you're abstaining from food, you're actually retraining and reprogramming your brain to know that just because it says you're hungry doesn't mean that you actually have to go eat. The beauty of it is that it's extremely low risk and very high reward. Fasting is preventative and it's actually a preparation. This is the why. Fasting is a preparation for when those other temptations come. And the beauty is, even though it's low risk, it has every bit of potency and power to keep me from those other things because it's dopamine that's motivating both sides, whether it be food or the addiction that's killing me. Dopamine is motivating it. So if I can do a biblical fast, it's actually going to help me with all those things. But let's go a little bit deeper into this. I want to talk to you about a few very specific things that you need to do while on a fast for the biblical fast to actually work for you. Number one, I kind of just went through it, is just the why. Biblical fasting is proper risk management for when greater temptation comes. Okay? It is preparation for when greater temptation comes. And the reason being is because instead of pursuing what my flesh wants to pursue, it actually teaches me how to pursue the Holy Spirit even before a great temptation comes, so that when the great temptation comes, I can pursue the Holy Spirit in that moment. Number two is all about how do I do the fast? And it's kind of simple. You just don't eat. You don't eat any food. This is not a thing where you say, I'm going to do a Daniel fast, or I'm going to just fast from sugar, or I'm just going to fast from meat, or anything like that. This is a complete rejection to all food. For me, I drink water. I also will drink coconut water, especially if I'm going on a longer fast. Like I've done some where it's 5 days straight, 8 days straight, 11 days straight. And that's not what I'm telling you guys that you need to do. But if I do that, I'll consume other things like coconut water, or I might put salt and garlic inside of some hot water or tea or something like that. But for what I'm going to tell you guys in this video specifically, it's just going to be water. Actually, I drink coffee in the morning. I typically would drink like 1 cup of coffee when I'm studying. So I just want to be honest about that. But absolutely no food, okay? So that's the how. Just don't eat, all right? Now that you have how, the third thing that you need to know is what to do when you don't eat. So your body is going to, at some point in time, trigger you and say, go eat, I'm hungry. And that's the same thing that's going to happen if you have an addiction. It's going to say, go do this addiction, I'm hungry for X addiction. So when you have that craving in a fast, what you're going to do specifically is you're going to begin to talk to the Holy Spirit. You'll out loud, not just under your breath. You talk out loud to the Holy Spirit. So I'll do things like this. I have a craving in my belly. I really want to go eat. And I'm like, shoot, I should just go eat. And then when I have that feeling, I'll immediately recognize that this is an opportunity for me to chase down the Holy Spirit, to pursue the Holy Spirit. And so I'll say things like this. Holy Spirit, my physical body wants to eat right now. My brain has been programmed to tell me to eat right now. But I thank you for giving me a secondary option. I thank you for teaching me that in this life, I don't only have the option of my flesh, but I also have the option of the Holy Spirit. And so I ask that you would help me to pursue you in this moment while my physical body is hungry. I desire to pursue you because I recognize that this is preparation for the temptation that will later come. I recognize that this is prevention from falling into the temptation that will later come. I recognize that I'm learning to crucify and kill my flesh like it says to do in Romans 12, where we prevent our body as a living sacrifice. And I recognize that this is preparing me to do that. So I thank you for it. I thank you for your glory, God. I thank you for all things that you provide. And I thank you that this is strengthening my body for the thing that's later to come. Simply, when you're fasting and you feel the craving for food, in that moment specifically, you have to be sure to pursue the Holy Spirit. If you don't pursue the Holy Spirit in that moment, what you'll be doing is abstaining from food, but it won't be an actual biblical fast. You aren't actually taking hold of the thing that's going to switch how your brain works. And what's happening when we're doing this is that our brain is starting to get these signals. Oh, even though I'm telling Matthew to go eat, Matthew doesn't want to eat right now. And the brain will try to tell me again, Matthew, go eat, because this is when you usually eat. But I'll continue to pray and pursue the Holy Spirit. And now what happens is the Holy Spirit will take dominance over my physical brain, and I'll have a secondary option. That's very important. Number 4, when should you fast? Well, in Matthew chapter 4, we learn this. You remember when Jesus went into the wilderness, he went into the desert, and he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and then as soon as he got done, he became tempted? The key to fasting is the idea of preparation. You're fasting before temptation comes. So just like Jesus goes into the desert and fasts for 40 days, and then the temptation comes, you are going to decide ahead of time, ahead of temptation coming, to go on fast so that you can prepare, which leads to the next question. Okay, well, I understand I need to do it before temptation comes. How often should I do it? Personally, I think you should do it once a week for 24 hours, every single week. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same day, but that's what I do. For 24 hours every single week, there's 7 days in a week, I take one day and I say I'm not going to eat this day, because this day is all about prevention and preparation, and it's teaching me to pursue after the Holy Spirit like nothing else can teach me to do. I'm denying my flesh for an entire day. No matter how many times it says, Matthew, go eat, you're hungry, blah, 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 blah. No, today is all about pursuing the Holy Spirit. And when you do this, when great temptation comes, you have so much power over that temptation because you've restructured and retrained and reprogrammed your brain to know that it is not the authority of your life. Your brain saying something to you is not authority. It's only giving you a response that you told it to give. So now we're going to reprogram. We're going to renew our minds by killing our flesh. And the way that we're going to kill our flesh is from not allowing our flesh for 24 hours to have what it wants, specifically. And if you do that, it might sound simple, because it is simple. This is going to help you carry so much power into when temptation comes, and you'll be able to prevent and abstain and reject it because you've trained once a week for 24 hours. You do that, you're going to be all good. Peace.